Welcome to Blueprint, a HIROC knowledge sharing series. My name is Philip D'Souza. I'm the Director of Communications and Marketing at HIROC. We at HIROC truly value knowledge sharing, which is why we are creating this series specifically for you. We're crisscrossing the country to hear what you and your teams are doing to support safety. In essence, we want to hear your blueprint for success. So, let's get to it. What's your personal blueprint for success as a healthcare leader?
I think there's two parts to that. The first part is always being focused on why are we here doing what we're doing. And if we keep that central to what we're doing, it helps us make decisions when it's tough. And the second part is you can't make those decisions without good information. And so you really need to be engaged and listen and hear from the front lines, from the public, from your board, from the community, and from government partners about what it is we need to do. Because we have to do it together, and no one person has all of the thoughts or all of the answers. So knowing why and listening and hearing and putting things together, those would be my two things that I would say would be blueprints for me.
Healthcare faces many challenges, and many of the problems in healthcare are wicked problems. They are intractable, they're resistant to the solutions that we try. But I think there actually is an answer to many of those problems, and that's for us to take a people-first approach. So we can enable healthcare organizations and healthcare systems to develop capability by systematically creating capability in our people. Lots of healthcare organizations say our people are our greatest asset, or all these kind of cliches out there. But what I think we have to do as an organization and as a system is to really invest in creating those capabilities and skill sets so that our people, who are actually the only ones that can create the change, are able to do so.
I'd like to think that my personal blueprint for success is about working hard and really finding why you do the work you do and bringing that with you every single day. So if your passion is healthcare, it will come through in your leadership. At the end of the day, you will always come back to why do I do what I do in the hard days and in the celebrations. If you really believe in making the healthcare system better, meaning that our people, our patients have the best care experience possible, that will lead to success. So my advice would be passionate about healthcare and get excited about it and find something that keeps you going as a leader, because that will pay off a lot.
There may be times when you're the one asking for support or help or just a pair of good ears, and other times when you're that person that lends those ears. And, it can be a challenging world. It can be an isolating world to be a CEO. And that's why the network that we have of support is so vital.
I think a very important recipe for success as a healthcare leader is really know what your healthcare leadership philosophy is. And mine has certainly been you rise when you raise others. And so we are surrounded by a fantastic group of healthcare leaders and who are extremely passionate, compassionate, informative, and really wanting to do the best that they can for our healthcare in our province, in Canada, throughout Canada. So relying on your team, raising your team up, removing the barriers, and celebrating successes together.
What's one safety initiative you're most proud of?
I think one of the things I would say I was most proud of as part of our safety program at IWK Health is our safety coach program. And that is having people who work at the front lines trained and supported to be safety coaches. So they can identify when people are in trouble. They can point out when perhaps we are doing things not in the way that we plan on doing. And they can be a resource for people to come and say, I need a little help with this. How do I keep my eye on doing things the best way we can with the best evidence we have for the highest quality and safe care? So safety coaches knocked it out of the park for us at IWK Health.
Yes, I think the thing I'm most proud of is Inspiring Leadership program. And this was a program that we conceived of during the pandemic. We designed and we began to implement and execute on during the pandemic. So at a time when our healthcare system was arguably the most strained, people were feeling the most stress, we were able to create a systematic and structured approach to leadership development in the organization. It's having a massive impact already. It's improving engagement. It's creating the kind of workplace culture that we want to continue to foster. And even when we look at things like turnover rates, the turnover rates we're getting from the program are 10 to 15 times lower, 10 to 15 times lower than the rest of the organization. And these are people that may have only just touched the leadership development program in some way. I think one of the things that is unique about the program is not only are we looking at supporting existing high-performing leaders and those in formal roles, we're really trying to develop that baseline organizational capability, get those who are aspirational, and what I also like to call the leadership curious, the people that kind of thinking about trying it out. And we've got offerings for everyone in the organization so that everyone can take on some kind of leadership within Halton Healthcare.
Yeah, I'm really proud right now where our two hospitals are going in terms of our quality management system. So we are working within our Oxford, Ontario Health team to come together and realize how can we improve the quality of care across our hospitals, but also with our care partners and our community partners. And we are doing back to basics training and quality improvement together. We've run retreats together where we actually have dedicated time and people from the organizations coming together and talking about how do we make things better. And I'd like to think that that's all going to end up translating into better care overall. So we're in I would say, the starting point of that journey. I'm just really excited about the enthusiasm and the energy I've already seen, even though it's at the beginning. So it's not quite done yet. We're just at the start.
I'm fairly new to my organization, but what I am working on with my team is really molding the culture so that it is a just culture. It is a culture of support, of identifying what's happened or what systemically might have caused the challenge, as opposed to going to blame, and really making it safe to surface errors or omissions or things that we could do better next time. And so that is a work in progress.
Well, I think that a very important piece at Bluewater Health that's been recognized from many of our guests, including our recent accreditors, actually, is our culture of kindness. And although it always sounds simple and we say it over and over again, it can never be overstated that there is a pulse in our organization of kindness and compassion for one another as healthcare providers, as leaders, certainly as care providers, and then reaching out to our community to be very community oriented and to be working in collaboration and integration and all of that with kindness as the underlying gesture of what will really incentivize us to do great work.
Where do you draw your inspiration from?
One of the people that I think about most when I'm doing this kind of work is a professor at the University of Alberta called Dr. Marvin Washington, who was part of my MBA program. I found a truly inspirational figure. On a day-to-day level, the rest of my senior leadership team colleagues and my boss, it's a phenomenal team to work with. And it's quite a rare experience, I think, to have a team that has excellent psychological safety, a real respect for each other's perspectives, and an ability to bring a diverse group of perspectives. So for my day-to-day energy, very much of that derives from my close colleagues as well.
I've had a lot of mentors in my life. I've had a lot of coaches, so colleagues, leaders who have helped me along my way, who I owe a lot to because they gave me either opportunities to learn or be in a leadership position to experience something, but also they gave me a lot of feedback. I read a ton of books. I read a ton of articles. I'm always reading something about leadership and how I can improve myself. And really that's what keeps me going, is just this thirst to keep learning and keep improving. When you're in an executive position at a hospital, there are a lot of challenging times. Sometimes it can feel very alone. You need to have a network of people around you that understand what you're going through and you can bring things to. And I feel very lucky that in my region, the CEOs are very connected. We support each other. We call each other. So that also helps in the current sense of where we're at and how we manage through together the challenges that are in front of us.
What motivates me is when staff outshine me or outshine their own expectations many times. And if you give them the space and the time to do that, they will often rise to your expectations and then some. It's so rewarding and so important to recognize that and to express gratitude around that. To say, you know what, they might say, I'm just doing my job. Well, no, you are doing wonders. You are moving mountains. You are doing something that only you can do. And that's important, whether it's during rounds, which I do every day, or during meetings or whatever, taking those opportunities to express gratitude and enable people the space and time to shine.
My passion about leading individuals really comes from a number of different factors. Some of my leadership education, my formal education, but certainly I have had some very influential leaders in my life who have recognized my strengths, who have kind of poked and prodded me to think about what's the next step, and who have really seen my opportunities for leadership and what I can give back as a leader, and have helped to kind of present new opportunities for me that I feel equally obligated to do for others.
Where does your drive to help others come from?
I think what I've realized over the course of my career is that investments in people are always wise investments. And if you invest in people and provide them with the skills that they need and the training that they need, it can have a catalytic effect. So I think coaching is actually a really good example of that. So at Halton Healthcare, we are creating a coaching culture within the organization. So our leaders can take courses on how to coach effectively, and then they'll go away and they'll be able to coach their managers, their directors, their teams on how to coach, and in turn those leaders will be able to coach their leaders, and so you can have this catalytic ability across an organization to problem solve, to develop creative solutions, and ultimately to achieve results. And so. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. If we don't deliver results as a healthcare organization or a healthcare system, we're not doing what we need to. Patients and their families, to them, the efforts you put in are actually irrelevant. What matters is the experience that they get and the outcome of the system.
What advice do you have for other emerging healthcare leaders?
Yeah, so someone who's a new leader, emerging leader, stay curious, be humble, ask a lot of questions, and don't be scared to be bold and courageous. Of course, that means be educated of what you're being bold and courageous about. But our healthcare system needs courage. And I think if you have that inside you and you want to use that for positive, you can do so much positive things for our system. So don't be scared of that. And I mentioned already the network of people around you. They'll help guide you. If you ask great questions, they'll help you see if what you're going to do is too bold and courageous, or if it's in the right spot. So the advice I would give to new leaders is to do that, is to just take those leaps and those bounds, because you don't know what might come. But in the same time, there's so much to learn and to grow in that. And you'd be giving so much back to your team in being like that, because they're looking for that courage in you. And if you have that and you can impart that on them, you're empowering them in a way by modeling behavior. So that's all important.
A special thanks to all the leaders who dropped by our knowledge exchange space. We really appreciated you sharing your blueprint for success. Thank you also to Spark Conferences for hosting us. Thank you for watching Blueprint. See you next episode.